Slow robot, okay. I'm full screen, and today I want to talk about um, the importance of teachers and how that relates to music. Learning how to do music, learning how to be creative in any endeavor. Really, it's not just necessarily music, but um, obviously I come from a musical background. Literally, there's you know like this hand and then this hand. So yeah, I got musical background stuff behind me. So that in the background, that's a funny joke there for you. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so the basically what I want to get across is that teachers are important for music in the sense that they provide accountability to you and they provide indifferent third party feedback to you so that you can learn where your strengths and weaknesses are, and you can grow as a musician. And a lot of us in the uh, reason using community, and really any producer kind of musician out there, a lot of us don't have any real kind of teacher that's showing us how to do this stuff, right? Like we're not learning how, you know, all the theory behind what we're doing, and we're not learning the ins and outs of, why certain things work a certain way, and you know like why one decision you make, like this adding this guitar part into a chorus or something, why that works in some cases and why it doesn't work in other cases. um, and so the difficulty becomes how do you identify those strengths and weaknesses if you don't have a someone there to hold you accountable, someone there not who doesn't have a dog in the fight. Like the only thing they're trying to do is make you a better musician. And if you don't have that, someone providing that role for you, then how do you progress? How do you find a way to get better at what you're doing? So again, a lot of us are doing this on our own. We're learning as we go. We're figuring this stuff out as we go. And the most important thing, if you don't have a teacher there to help you make those decisions, if you don't have, whether it's a creative assistant, some or not assistant, but someone who's helping you make creative decisions and understand the creative decisions you're making and why they might be working or not, or someone who's helping you with the technical side of um, either recording or the theory side of the music. Like somebody in each of those roles can help you progress in those areas. And it's if you don't have someone there to do that, you have to do it on your own. So what's the most important thing to keep in mind if you're doing it on your own? Is the answer to that is self-awareness. So you're not going to progress at your creative endeavors if you're oblivious to where you are and you're oblivious to where you want to be. So you have to have a certain level of self-awareness in order to uh, achieve the goals that you want to make in order to get to the place you want to be. And so I've heard a lot of music over the years, and I've encountered a lot of bands and musicians who put music out there, and they have this very, I don't want to say egocentric view of their stuff, but they're they're so far removed from any kind of objective listening to what they're doing that they end up putting out music that is subjectively kind of terrible. obviously they think it's good, and to them it is good, but a lot of that I think is attributable to the fact that they are putting stuff out and they're hearing it through their own filters. They're not stepping back and seeing what is it about this that would appeal to anyone else other than myself, and how do I, how do I fix anything that might be not great about it, and how do I enhance the things that I'm already good at. Um, and so you end up with people who are just putting out pretty bad music, and they think it's great, and and it's kind of, it can be embarrassing to watch because you see them putting this stuff out, and they're all into it, and they're like doing all this like um like acting certain ways in their, and how they're interacting with people, how they're kind of sharing stuff, like whether it's like being aggressive about, hey, you need to check this out because it's awesome or whatever, or just having like putting on airs of like superiority, or like um acting like you are like some kind of badass in your videos, or whatever. Like there's so many ways you can make it yourself look like an idiot, um when you put out something bad and you're acting like it's awesome. So self-awareness is the most important thing you need to have in order to progress. And so what does that look like? So basically all it is the ability to take something that you've done and divorce yourself from the emotional attachment you have to it from having created it yourself, and then asking yourself really honestly, if this was something that I heard on the radio or something I saw somewhere, is it something that I would want to continue to, look at or listen to, or whatever, whatever kind of art it is? Is it something that I would want to see and hear? And I think that that is the simplest question that you can ask yourself as a musician. And I don't think most people do, but there are people out there who are putting out music again that's terrible, and it's like they could fix that, right? Like they can fix that. All they have to do is say, hey, step back. Is this actually something I would listen to? Like, just, if I heard it on the radio, would I put it on and would I keep listening to it? And then once you have that answer, if the answer is yes, then okay, you're good to go. But if the answer is no, then you have to figure out, what is it about this that isn't working for me? What is it about this that makes this particular thing that I've created not live up to what I would like to hear or see or whatever? And then you go about fixing that, and that's a long process. That's not an easy thing to do. You can, if it's like, for example, you have issues with singing, like I had for a long time when I first started singing and recording myself singing. I was terrible at it, and I would put stuff out, and I thought it was okay. I knew I wasn't a great singer, but and I put it out, I got some feedback, and it was like kind of harsh, and I was able to go, okay, well, why are these people reacting this way? And then, when I step into the kind of um step into the role of just listening to it from a outside perspective, or trying to, I was able to see the points that they were making, right? Like it was, okay, you just don't sound confident, and like everything is kind of one note, in the sense that there wasn't really any kind of dynamics. It just felt very flat, and they were right, and that allowed me to go into um, my process of working in on my vocals, and over the years, and again, it takes a long time. It took me a few years to get better to the point where I'm kind of semi competent at singing. And it's it's like I said, it's a long process, but the point is, you just have to be self-aware, or in this case, they helped me. I got some help from outside, so they would take the role of the teacher in this kind of example, so that they taught me where my weakness was, and I was able to then go forward and address it. And you need to be able to do that with every area within your productions, whether that's your vocals, whether it's your instrument playing, whether it's your mixing. All of that is important, and you have to be either self-aware enough to call yourself out when you're doing it wrong, or when you're doing something that doesn't sound good, or you have to be able to reach out to somebody, whether that's a teacher, whether that's some other creative professional, or whether it's a group of people. Like in my case, it was a forum here in Buffalo. There was a westernnewyorkmusic.com music forum, and I posted my music there, and that's where I got my feedback, and that helped me to learn and helped me to grow as a musician. But yeah, I mean, the ultimate thing is that you really just have to be aware of what it is that you're putting out and how others are likely to perceive it. Now, there are some other considerations, obviously, like if you're doing something that no one's ever done before, then it's hard to kind of compare it to something else. Like if you're doing some weird avant-garde kind of music, comparing it to like a pop mix of some song is useless. So you have to be also aware of what you're comparing it to. So that's why I say I think the most important part is comparing it to your own goals, and whether you personally would want to hear this thing or see this thing. Um, I think that's the most important thing, because you're going to be able to hold yourself accountable for those improvements. And you have to be patient with yourself as you go through the process of learning how to get better at doing this. And so, really, that's it. I mean, self awareness, the most important thing you can have, that you need. And this goes for all levels. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out. I know I'm talking about this from a starting out sort of perspective, but if you could be playing music for 40 years and not be a great musician, right? Like you can have done anything for a very long amount of time and not be very good at it. And usually that is going to be attributed to either a lack of training and feedback, or a lack of self-awareness. And so it happens at every level along the way. Um, you just got to hold yourself accountable. And that's pretty much it. So if you ever question why teachers are important, or question why self awareness is important as you're doing your creative endeavor, whatever it is, don't. It's important. Um, you can replace a teacher with yourself, but you have to be very diligent about how you go about your learning and growing as an artist in that case. So that's pretty much it. Self-awareness. Do it. Later.